My name's Rihanna. I was born June 26, 1996 in LaGrande, Oregon. I don't know. And I was raised in Elgin, Oregon. You're making me nervous.
Why?
I don't know. I was raised by my mother, Tina Duncan, and my stepdad, Rowdy Wise. And I grew up with my half-sister, Jessie Wise, when I used to be Parsons. I don't know where to start.
Start wherever you feel is best. Just talk about everything.
I remember a lot from when I was really little, honestly. I remember when my life started going to shit, though. Just like, I remember, well, when I was 8, I remember my mom having a conversation with my sister about her biological dad having, was going to have another kid, so she was going to be a sister again. And I remember, like, I didn't understand much about, like, what stepdads and stepmoms were, really. And so I remember asking my mom, like, if I had any step-parents or siblings and shit, and she just told me to go to bed. And the next day after school, I came home and she told me that Rowdy wasn't my real dad. And while she's telling me this, she said she didn't know about it, but I don't believe her. But my biological father, Patrick Maz, showed up at our front door to meet me. And he told me about how I had 3 half-brothers, Patrick, Eugene, and Dusty. And then I remember seeing my dad cry for the first time. And I remember telling him that he's my dad, and this man is not my father, and he never will be. And I didn't see him again until I was 21. I never heard anything from him again. But even though he lived just a little over an hour away from me in Baker City, which made me feel unwanted growing up. Like, my sister had a somewhat relationship with her biological father, and his family, but I was just left in the dark and just feeling like there's this person out there that's that doesn't want me. And besides my dad, he met my mom when she was pregnant with me, but he didn't leave, and he raised me. Definitely daddy's girl. I love my dad. He's got his flaws, like we all do. He was a drunk most of my life. And he got me, I started smoking weed with him when I was 13, and he got me into drinking as well. And I started drinking when I was 15 because my mom started cheating on my dad and was going to move me away. Thankfully that didn't happen. They worked it out. There's a lot of chaos, though, with that. And I turned to alcohol, and my parents supported it. I gave myself alcohol poisoning 3 times before I was 19. My parents only know about 1 time, though. Let's see, when I was, part of why I also started drinking, though, wasn't just my home life. Because when I was 14, towards the end of being 14, I was in a relationship with somebody. My parents supported it, weirdly enough, even though, I would go all the way to Burns, Oregon every weekend, all the time with this person. Oh god, I feel so weird right now. I've never shared my story with her. This person he was not a good person. Let's just say that. they stole something from me when I wasn't ready. And thank you. Because they didn't want to listen to me saying no, that I didn't want it. And that fucked with me. It fucked me up. I mean, thankfully they lived so far away. When I came back home after that happened, I never spoke to them again. But it really fucked with me, and like my mom found out, but she was not very kind to me about it. She just made me feel like I was the fuck up. It was my fault. And like that I was just trouble. She told me that like I was gonna end up pregnant before I even graduated high school and all this kind of shit because I had sex, and even though I didn't want to. So with alcohol being still available to me, I decided to just start drinking. I mean, like, my mom was willing to go to the store every fucking weekend and buy me alcohol. My dad made homemade Kahlua, and he was an alcoholic. I mean, he was a really bad alcoholic. And I remember telling my dad, though, when I was a kid, like, that his drinking scared me. That didn't matter, though, because I mean, it broke his heart that day, but it didn't stop him. But I mean, he's not bad anymore. I mean, he drinks occasionally, but he's not a bad alcoholic anymore. And what got him to stop was one night he got so fucking blacked out drunk that he like removed all the guns from the house, and he woke my mom up by slapping the shit out of her and destroying the house. And there was a restraining order for a while with my dad. But once everything got figured out, I mean, he stopped drinking as much. He fucking fixed his shit with that, which is good. It's good to see my dad be my dad again. But, and me and my mom, we never got along. Like, it took me moving out a week after I turned 18 with a bunch of strangers to finally, like, have a, like just be civil with each other. Because, I mean, my mom just was not great to me. I mean, when I was 16, she told me that she never wanted me. She wanted an abortion with me, but she just didn't follow through with it. Like, she ended up walking out of the doctor's office. Which is fucked up. Like, who tells their kid that they didn't want them? And wanted to, like, end their life before they had a life. But, so me and my mom always fought, and she would always tell me to fucking smoke weed. Because I was better when I was high. And around the time I was around 17, I found out my mom was getting high. And I basically became a parent in a sense, like, because I would always sneak into her room and find her stash and fucking fuck her shit up. Like, just get rid of her drugs. But like I said, I moved out a week after I turned 18 with a bunch of strangers. Because I just wanted away from home. I moved to LaGrande, Oregon. I had found out by 3 different doctors I couldn't have kids. Well, that's what they said anyway. Thankfully, they were all wrong. But it fucking killed me inside because I always wanted to have a family. So I became a heavier alcoholic. I used to make my coffee with vodka instead of water. I would drink at work. I would drink after work, and I had a good paying job. I made over $600 a week, and my rent was less than $500 a month. My utilities were less than $200 a month. So I had a lot of extra money, and it all went to alcohol. But then when I was 20, I found out I was pregnant. I took 7 pregnancy tests because I didn't believe it. I was a high-risk pregnancy, but my first son, Asher Juan Duncan, was born April 20th 2016, 2 months before I turned 21. His dad was not the best person. He was very, like, he didn't treat me well at all. He was, like, he wasn't abusive physically, but, I mean, like, or necessarily verbally, but he just, let's just say, like, the relationship was so bad that, like, I woke up every single day just wanting to die. And the only reason I never even followed through is because every morning I'd also, shortly after I'd wake up, I would wake up to see my son's face, and I'd realize I have something to live for. This beautiful little human I made that is a miracle. Something I never thought I would have. But eventually I left that relationship, and I got with someone else a little while later, and she turned out to be a monster too. I don't have a great picture currently until recently. She started using drugs like about a year into our relationship. She thought she was being, like, secretive about it, but I could tell, because I mean, I know what someone looks like when they're getting high. My mom was getting high when I was in high school, and, like, I used to hate drugs. I used to fucking hate them. Like, I thought people that used drugs were just fucking worthless piece of shit people, actually. But, like, she was so mentally abusive, and then, like, and she broke up with me, but I was stuck living with her, and I had a case of what someone that's like a sister to me calls the fuck-its. And one day we had our neighbor over, who's a pretty good friend of ours, and she was wearing her boyfriend's sweats, and he was in prison and stuff, and, like, my ex-girlfriend, she, like, fucks with her pocket, and a bag of dope falls out. My first thought was, yeah, I want to use it. I want to do the drugs. But of course I was trying to play it off like, hey, let me help you guys. You guys are both trying to be recovering addicts, and, like, I don't want to deal with that. It didn't work out that way, in a way. Because I still ended up using. Me, her, and our roommate ended up doing a line. And I went downhill really quick right after that. I was convinced, like, hours later by my ex and our neighbor to go to Walmart and buy syringes, and I was letting them shoot me up because I just didn't care about life. And, you know, during that time, like, I didn't have my son very often. I only had him on weekends because of my job. It just made sense that he stayed, you know, with his dad during the week, and I had him on the weekends. So I didn't have that, like, reminder, you know. And his dad was also starting to be shitty, and because he didn't like the fact I wasn't with him and didn't want to be with him, so he would use that against me. And because, like, when I broke up, me and her broke up, like, he tried convincing me to come back with him, and I was like, no, I don't want to feel like I want to die every day. Like, you don't, like, no, absolutely not. I can't do that to myself or our son. But during that downhill spiral of getting high, I nearly went crazy because I stayed up for over a week straight, fucking just letting my neighbor and my ex shoot me up with meth, fucking like an idiot. So I'm terrified of needles. And, like, I started seeing shit and hearing shit that wasn't actually real. And I tried killing myself because of it. Well, I was talking to someone, his name's Andrew Marsh. Met him through my ex, actually, because at one point in time, me and her, like, we did actually want, like, a family together, like, and I met him because she knew him. He lived in Colorado Springs, but we had asked him if he would be our baby daddy. Which is wild because he still ended up being the father to 3 of my children, sorry. But just before trying to kill myself, things were getting so bad, and I had made a comment, in a way I was joking, but I was also serious. I was like, can I just run away and escape this situation and come there? But he said yes. And after I tried killing myself, thankfully unsuccessfully, I took that opportunity to go to Colorado. I went to my parents' house for a couple days to sober up, and then I drove by myself from Elgin, Oregon, all the way to Colorado Springs, Colorado. A couple months, and I moved there in August of 2018. And I started my relationship with Andrew. I started getting my mental health right. And on November 8th, 2018, him and I got married. And then on May 7th, 2019, we had our first son, Trenton Marsh. Spider. Sorry. Distraction. Things were great, I guess. In the beginning of that marriage, I guess. Of course, there were some flaws, like every relationship. No relationship is perfect. No person's perfect. But we lived in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I got a job working with his mom, and we lived in a giant house. It was like a duplex house, but it was huge. And we lived with his 2 little brothers and his mom and her boyfriend. And I started working with his mom and her boyfriend. I actually really liked that job too. We lived there we lived in Colorado Springs for 2 years. Let's see, and we ended up having to move back to Elgin, Oregon, and with my parents, because his mom and her boyfriend started using drugs heavy, and it was getting violent as fuck in that house. Just to put it in perspective, she threw a mattress at my baby, my son. Trenton was only a couple months old. He was less than a year old. And that's when we're like, yeah, we can't stay here. And the only other option was moving in with my parents back in Oregon. Something I've learned from that is you never move back. I regret moving back home in ways, but at the same time I don't, because I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't. Hi.
Hi.
I got nervous again. So we lived with my parents for a while. Me and Trenton flew here. Well, not here. I'm in Boise, Idaho now. I did technically fly to Boise. Andrew followed a week later in the car. And we moved to Elgin in April of 2020. Yeah. Just before Trenton turned 1. And, which was kind of cool to be able to have his first birthday with my parents, and they got to meet him and everything like that. When Andrew got to Oregon, though, he brought drugs with him, which and he had a past too with drug use, like a really rough past with drug use, heroin, meth. Heroin was his go-to. But he a friend had given it to him for the travel or whatever. He said he didn't use any on the way, but he kept it, and we we used what he had, and then like we didn't touch it. We didn't touch it again. Well, a few months after living in Oregon, a few months into living back in Oregon with my parents, I found out I was pregnant. This is a bit rough. Towards the end of my pregnancy, things were starting to get rough between Andrew and I. He was starting to like just disappear all the time, and like he technically like moved out in a sense for a short period of time, and with some people he like randomly just met. Like Andrew had never been to Oregon before, so like he didn't actually know anybody, but like, and I found out he was using heavy, like he was an IV user, and of course like wanting to bring our family back together, I moved in with him to these people's house, into this people's house with Trenton, and I was pregnant. And on December 23rd, 2020, at 4 o'clock in the morning, I went into labor. Andrew was not home. He was in Pendleton, Oregon, doing some fuck shit. I took Trenton to my parents' house, and I went to the hospital alone. Eventually, someone who used to be my best friend, her name's Mariah, she eventually showed up, and she was there with me, and I was in labor for like 13 hours or something like that. I think my longest labor of all my kids. Also, the most emotional moment of my life. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people won't understand this, but I don't know. There was an unspeakable bond I had with Kaz, my son Kaz. He was born on December 23rd. I already said that, but whatever. December 23rd. 2 days before Christmas. He was Christmas Eve, baby, and I hope someone in this world understands that show reference. I'm nervous right now. But I cried, and I got really emotional when he was born. He was my little buddy. But the only one born with a full head of hair that perfectly mohawked. After Kaz was born, or maybe less than that actually, we did move back in with my parents. The people we were staying with, I mean, they were just not good fucking people, and they were not fucking good people. And I mean, they were also drug addicts, but that's not necessarily what made them bad people. It's like all the fuck shit they were doing, and like, I mean, yeah, I won't get into that. That's their life. That's their story. So we moved out. We moved back in with my parents. As long as we could go. We were actively trying to find a place, but of course, it's not always that easy. Andrew he got a job. He got a job with a company that was in La Grande and that traveled to Idaho to build fences. And he'd be gone all week long. He was just home on weekends. Spiders up in there. Distractions. Can you tell I'm getting uncomfortable? I mean, and like things were so like getting honestly worse between Andrew and I, like fighting a lot. Like he was still using. I mean, he cut down a little bit, but he was still using regardless, and he was still doing fuck shit. Like when he was home, Like, he'd be gone all night on the weekends and everything. So, like for long, like, I literally only have one picture of him with Kaz. Or had. I'll get to the had part later, but, because he was just never around. And then on March 31st, 2020, it happened to be the worst day of my fucking life. I woke up. I used the bathroom. It was like super early in the morning. I don't even know what time it was. I can't. Details that I don't care about really, but it was like maybe like anywhere between 2 and 4 in the morning. And well, I couldn't use the bathroom. I realized my dad was in the bath. And the bathroom's right next to my parents' room, and so I popped my head in and asked my mom for a cigarette. And then, as I'm walking back through the house, I realized, I was actually, kind of, being more, aware, more awake, and I realized something was wrong. I realized that my son, Kaz, there's just something off. I don't know how to really honestly explain it, but I just knew there was something wrong. So I sprinted back to my room. Oh my God. Okay. And I realized that my son's not breathing. Trenton's asleep, but Kaz is he's not even breathing. I pick him up, and I just start screaming. I just start freaking out, losing my fucking mind. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, I know my dad's in the bath, but my mom she didn't even bother. Didn't fucking bother. Nothing. I finally, I fell into the floor outside my room. Because when I picked him up, I stepped out of my room. I started losing it because I realized, it was setting in, my son's not fucking breathing, and I didn't know what the fuck to do. Which is the worst feeling. Feeling so fucking useless in a situation like that. Sorry, distraction. The spiders just hanging out on me.
Yeah, I see him.
I finally get up and I make my way towards the back of the house where my mom is. And my dad comes sprinting at, because I'm screaming through the house, help me, Kaz isn't breathing. And my dad just comes barging out of the bathroom. My mom's just still standing in her room. Just standing there. I don't know, maybe she was in shock, I don't fucking know. I don't dare to question it, really, or ask, because the more I think about it, the more hurt I feel. And, betrayed, in a way. I don't know if that's really the right word, but just hurt by my mother, honestly, with it. And my dad starts panicking. He's like, "What do you mean he's not breathing?" I was like, "Help me, please!" I don't And it took my dad screaming at my mom to call 911. And I handed Kaz to my dad. And the 911 operator walked him through how to perform CPR on an infant. And my mom was on the phone with him. My dad's giving him CPR. And I'm being useless, just losing my fucking mind in the living room. And my son Trenton wakes up, and of course he's just confused. He's just a little guy. And he loved Kaz. He was the best little brother I've ever seen in my life. I might just be saying that because he's my kid, but like he loved Kaz. Like from day one, like he would always do tummy time with him, like, and just the love he had the moment he saw Kaz. Like, I've only seen someone look at someone with so much love once in my life. And that's the way you look at me, Scotty.
Yes, I love you.
But he was just confused, and I was trying to like get myself to calm down and trying to keep Trenton calm. And the ambulance showed up, and I still not knowing what the fuck to do with myself because I didn't want to just leave Trenton, and because he couldn't come in the ambulance with too, and you know they had to take Kaz. My grandma, she lived right around the corner from my parents. She came and picked us up. We went to the hospital. Everyone in that hospital, everyone was trying their best to save my son. It's a traumatizing thing to see so many people just surrounding a bed with a little precious little life, like trying to save it. And it's just, I couldn't even get close, you know. And at one point I had to use the bathroom, and like this whole time, by the way, Andrew's in Idaho working, and no one can get a hold of him. The hospital was trying to call him, I was trying to call him, my parents were trying to call him, just nothing. I mean, it's also super early in the morning, he was asleep, but I think he told me he had over 200 missed calls from me, over 100 missed calls from the hospital, and like just under 100 from my parents. But when I got out of the bathroom, there's the doctor and a woman I've known my whole life. Her name's Karma Parsons, standing outside the bathroom waiting for me. And the doctor tells me that the blood results came back saying that he's been without oxygen to his brain for long enough that if they are successful at bringing him back, he has a 50-50 chance at a normal life. And they've almost been successful a couple times, and my dad was actually almost even successful when the ambulance had shown up. Like, his heart tried beating, but they were still struggling, and they told me I needed to make the call, whether they continue or they let him go. If it wasn't for Karma, I probably would have fallen to the floor because I didn't know what to do, and I had to make that decision alone. But in all reality, I couldn't make that decision. I had to tell the doctor to make the decision, use his best judgment. I mean, he's a doctor. I mean, I feel like if I can't, like, the next, and like, because I couldn't do that alone, and the only person like that should be there to make that decision with me was in Idaho and not answering. You have to flick the spider?
I don't know.
No, leave him alone.
He's gonna act like he's gonna jump towards me. I don't want him to do it.
He does look easy jump at you.
Stay.
He's a cute little guy, don't flick him. Anyway, unfortunately, the doctor chose to tell everyone to stop. And they got him all like fixed up and bundled and swaddled him to let me, so I could go back and hold him and be with him. I probably sat back there in that house in that area for hours. It felt like eternity just holding him. I mean, like, who wants to say goodbye to anybody, but especially their baby, you know? And he just looks so precious. His hair, a little mohawk. I remember my grandma coming back to sit with me. One of the best moments I've ever had with my grandma, actually, just sitting there talking with her while I was holding him. You know, and we were talking about how we, you know, if there is a heaven or wherever, you know, we go and after we leave this world, like, you know, I like to believe that at least he's maybe with my grandpa, which, backtracking a little bit, I love my grandpa. Me and my grandpa were very close. He tried kidnapping me from my parents when I was born because he wanted to keep me, which they would have let him. He unfortunately passed away while I was pregnant with my first son, Asher. Although I had a really amazing moment with him hours before he passed away. He was a little drugged up in the hospital, but I remember he called me to his bed, and he's like, he was holding my stomach, telling me how proud of me he was and the life I was creating. And that's actually where my oldest son's middle name comes from. Is like about a month before my grandpa passed away, I had asked my grandpa if I could give my son part of his name. So that's where his middle name, Juan, comes from, because my grandpa's name is Juan Wise. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, me and my grandma were just talking about, like, you know, wherever we go, we were hoping that, you know, just my grandpa would probably be, you know, taking care of Kaz. I like to still think that. I mean, I don't necessarily believe in God or heaven or any of that shit, but I don't think life is just fucking done and over with either, though, when we go. But anyway, and after what felt like an eternity, and just sitting there, I remember a nurse came up to me to let me know that with, like, he was like 5:30 in the morning, and the nurse came up to me and she's like, so, you know, here at 6 o'clock, the medical examiner will be here to come get your son. Which, of course, I didn't want to be there for that. I didn't want some strange man that I knew was going to have to, you know, because by law, like, I don't have a choice in the matter, unfortunately, due to, you know, it being an infant. I didn't want some man that I knew that was going to do an autopsy on my child to take my child from me. Like, so, but at the same time, I also couldn't let him go. And that nurse, she was the sweetest woman ever. And she, like, I didn't actually have to, like, ask her. I just gave her a look and she understood what I needed from her. And she gently took Kaz from my arms. And that woman, I ended up writing the whole hospital staff a letter for Karma, the woman I mentioned earlier, because I guess they had a meeting the next day about the whole situation. The whole hospital did. But I wrote her a letter to read to everyone, and another letter for that nurse specifically. And I later, about like a month later, or not even a month later, honestly, like a couple weeks later, found out that woman went an extra mile after that. And she did something beautiful for me. After I left the hospital, she had taken Kaz's hands and feet and stamped them for me, so that I would have. So now, I mean, they do that at the hospital too, when you know, your babies are first born. But she did it again for me with the day he passed away, and I can't express how much that means to me that she did that. I didn't know she did that until I just one day received, like, in the abundance of mail I got, because I got letters from all the hospitals, clinics. I even got mail from people in Colorado, like, because I had been dealing with an attorney back in Colorado Springs still, because back in October of 2019 I had gotten in a car wreck because some lady was an idiot and pulled out in front of us, even though her light was red. And and like, even though like he, like, I was done speaking with them, he's like, they got me my settlement and everything. Like, they actually sent me flowers and a letter and everything. It was really sweet. But oh my god. Yeah, I just got a big envelope one day in the mail, and it was with a little letter from that nurse saying, like, you know, it was sweet because she apologized. She's like, I hope this is okay with you. But I took some like stamps of your son's hands and feet for you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, of course it's okay. I don't know why it wouldn't be. But it was really sweet. I had Karma reach out to her again to thank her after that again too, because it meant everything to me. Oh my god. Of course, considering it's, no one knows what to do with, I mean, like, just in general, like, you know, as a parent that has lost a child, or like, and people, like, you know, just outside of me, like, no one really knew how to handle the situation. I do know one thing. There's my greatest friend, my ride or die friend. Her name is Aaliyah Team. So shout out to her if she even watches this. I don't even know if she watches YouTube, but if she does, I'm shouting her out because she's an amazing woman. I grew up with her. Like, I've known her since the day I was born. I mean, she's like a couple months older than I am. Well, I actually found out that same day that Cass passed that she had moved back to Elgin from the Oregon coast, because she called me. She's like, hey, and she's like, hey, so you know I moved back to Elgin, and I was like, I'm, you know, of course not okay, but I'm like, I didn't even have to finish saying what was going on, because she cut me off, and she's like, it's okay, I'm on my way. She was literally like, she heard me like starting to say something, and she literally was already on her way to my house to come see me and be with me. She's the only person that did that. Everyone else that was my so-called friend fucking abandoned me when I needed them the most. Even the person that I thought was my best fucking friend. I went through everything in high school with her. Like, we were very close, or so I thought. Spiders. Calling them again. Hey, you leave him alone.
It's being annoying.
He's our friend now.
Continue, ma'am.
And she was there with me for a long time, all day, but just about, because Andrew still wasn't home yet, and it was like, yeah, it was like, not till like 8 or 9 in the morning or something like that he finally woke up and called me, and that was the hardest call. It was very heartbreaking to have to tell him that our son died. But I'm very thankful for his boss, who made a almost 3-hour car ride in an hour and a half. I'm glad they didn't die on the way. While I was on the phone with Andrew just, I could hear him telling his boss, like, I need to go home, my son passed away, and like his boss was just like, get in the fucking truck right now. And within an hour and a half, which should have been 3 hours, he was home. And he got home just as a cop and CPS were leaving. Of course, due to the situation, they had to come talk to me and come see, where he was sleeping and all that kind of stuff. Thankfully, I, like probably any parent who's lost a child, was blaming myself. Like, I did something wrong. It's my fault. And like I think it was maybe 2 days later, I got a call. And probably one of the best calls, given like what was going on, that I got, because it was a medical examiner calling me to tell me that for a fact it was not my fault. Unfortunately, though, with that call comes the shitty fucking news of there's no reason your son died. So they marked it as SIDS, which is the fucking most fucked up shit. If you ask me, it's like sudden infant death syndrome. He just died. Like, what the fuck? Like, so I will never have closure of any kind. But I at least know that it wasn't my fault. There's nothing I did that was done that caused him to not be with us anymore. This situation is also the reason why I was already doubting any sort of faith in an idea of a God, but this literally completely, I was just like, there's no fucking way. Especially because some people's favorite thing to say to me was, God just need another angel, which I think is the most garbage fucking shit I've ever heard. Because, I'm sorry, why does God need a fucking 3-month-old child as an angel? Like, that's fucking not okay. If you disagree with me, I really don't care. Not knowing any better, and considering I've already had some little bit of a history, and my husband has a history of it, and my parents have a history of it, and pretty much everyone I fucking know does it, I quickly turned to using drugs because I wanted to disassociate and I didn't want to sleep, because all I would dream about is that whole situation. And it got really bad for me very fucking fast. I thankfully never let a needle touch me ever again. So, didn't get that bad. But it still got pretty fucking bad. I nearly starved myself to death because I mean, it's really easy to stop thinking about eating or taking care of yourself in general when you're fucking so depressed and you're using drugs. I mean, and for me also using drugs, I didn't have a fucking appetite anyway. I was on meth. And everyone was just feeding it to me. Everyone I knew, not knowing what to fucking do with my situation, was just like, here's a fucking bunch of fucking drugs. Help you feel better. I'm sorry for your loss. Which, part of me wants to be like, that's so fucked up. But it's but in all reality, that's the world they're already in, for one. And two, it's no one knows what to say, let alone do, when you're in that situation. And for fuck's sake, at least they did something. People that I thought were my friends barely spoke to me anymore. And when I did see them, they'd be like, oh, I've been thinking about reaching out to you and wondering how you're doing. I'm thinking about seeing if you wanted to hang out. And I when they would say that, I literally would be like, please, fucking, I need it. I actually, it took everything out of me to actually voice that, because my whole life, growing up, I'd always be like, it's okay to ask for help, but I would ask for help and I would get shamed for it or treated like shit for it or made fun of for it. So it actually took so much time, but like I was so not okay, and I knew I wasn't okay. Like I was like, please, I fucking would love that. Like I need that, and I would never hear from them again. Even my best fucking, who I thought was my best fucking friend. Like I saw her once after Kaz died, and it was because she was my dog that I had puppies, and she was already in town visiting with her parents, and she came out and she took two of the puppies to take home, and then but that was it. And months later, I guess she spoke to me one other time because she took Triton overnight once for me and Andrew, and just before I started using. And at first, me and Andrew got high once. It was just a one-time thing, and we made sure Trenton was taken care of. Because one thing, even though in my addiction, one thing I never let go of was making sure Trenton had everything he needed and wanted, and he was well taken care of. That was my number one thing. Fuck getting high, my kid comes first, always. Getting high can wait. When I got bad, that's one thing I'm going to make clear right now. But at the time, it was just a one time, and when she asked me, she's like, "Did you get high?" I was for one, I had no energy to fucking lie, but two, she was who I thought was my best friend. I was like, I did. I got high. I made sure Trenton wasn't even with us. He was safe. He was fine. And we at the time, it's been a week since then. And she treated me like shit for it. And one day, I got a message from her, and she's like, "You continue this shit. You already lost one child. Do you really want to lose another?" And that fucking fucked me up. I was like, that was fucking a piece of shit thing to say. Honestly, it's slightly part of why I said fuck it, and I just started using it all the time. It was so bad that the person I got my drugs from started getting concerned for me, because I would buy at least I would find a way to get money and buy drugs from up to 8 times a day. I don't know why I didn't just buy it all at once. And they were feeling concerned for me. They're like, maybe you need to slow down. I was like, and I would get pissed. I was like, shut the fuck up. Just give me my drugs. I don't want to sleep, and I just want to feel numb. And I started starving myself. I used to be a heavier set woman. I held my weight well, but I was still a little over 200 pounds, and in less than 6 months, I dropped down to 70 pounds. Without my knowing, or at least maybe I was just ignoring it and oblivious to it. I was a talk of the town, or towns, LeGrand and Elgin, and it took my husband finally sitting down with me and pointing out to me you need to look in a fucking mirror, and when's the last time you ate anything, even just took a bite of something. And of course I couldn't remember. I didn't know. I didn't really notice. And then I finally actually and he's and he was confused because he's like, well, how could you put on makeup and not see yourself? I'm like, I can look right through myself. I don't look at myself, It's kind of hard to do that when you're getting high and also you're fucking just not okay. It's easy to not pay mind to your own self. It's easy to just let go of giving a fuck about yourself in any way, shape, or form. Take a breather for a second. I think this is the most I've ever talked about myself.
Sure.
Of course, I want to say things were okay by any means between Andrew and I, but the fighting and shit was on pause in a way for a short period of time because we were getting fucked up, and we were never home either. We always were gone. We were staying in LeGrand all the time. It was so bad. We would stay in the car, because we just didn't want to be home. We'd find ways to get hotels. or fucking extended stays. I got in trouble for the first time with the law in Washington, stealing from Walmart. Like an idiot. And at one point, like, so my grandma, she had put, like, in Elgin, she put, like, little jars for, like, to help with the costs of, like, cremation and everything. Like, just because, you know, small towns is kind of what we do. We just, like, we'll put little jars for people to donate if they can. Unfortunately, so there's three stores she put them in: the gas station, Core Market, and Food Town. Well, the one, she, like, I forgot about them, and then my grandma's like, "Hey, you should go collect your jars." So last I was in the store, they were kind of full, and it's your money for your son, you know, it's or whatever you need to use it for, you know. So I was like, "Oh shit, okay." So I walked to the stores to go collect them, and the one at Core Market's gone. You know, and I'm confused as fuck. And, like, talking to the store associates. One of them was like, it was her first day back after her weekend, so she had no idea what the fuck I was even talking about. And the other one, she's like, "I know what you're talking about. It was there yesterday. That's really weird. It's not there." And, like, so of course, like, you know, the store owner, Brad, you know, he wasn't in that day, but, you know, she's like, I'll call him and let him know, and because there's cameras. I get a call from him, and I leave my number and everything, and I get a call from him the next day. And turns out one of his employees stole the jar. Super fucked up, because I mean the jar has like a picture of me and Kaz and a little, you know, note on it about the situation. And someone was fucked up enough to steal it. But the store owner, Brad, super amazing person, and a lot of respect for him, because the moment he found out, I took another employee telling me this, because he didn't tell me all the details, but apparently the moment he found out, before calling me, he went to her house, tried to get the money back, but she already spent it, and quote unquote doesn't know what she did with the jar, but he fired her at her house. Like, he went above and beyond, and when he had me come to the store, and he insisted on writing me a small check to, like, make up for it, which, you know, of course I tried insisting, like, it's not your fault, you didn't have to do that, but he gave me no choice. But I have a lot of respect and appreciation for that, because, like, most businesses would be like, well, I'm sorry, you know, and not really care. That's one of the very few good things about small towns, is there's a lot of people that actually kind of do care. But there's also just a lot of fucked up assholes too. Excuse my language. I mean, I don't know why I'm saying that, because you cuss on here all the time. A few months after Kaz passed, though, things got bad, way bad, like worse than before between Andrew and I again. He became a fucking monster. I mean, and he started using fentanyl along with meth. And he started using fentanyl because he couldn't ever find heroin. And sometimes drugs just get the best of you, unfortunately. And it got the best of me in my own ways, and it got the best of him in his own ways. It fucking turned him into a very terrible human being. We had moved to LeGrand, we got an apartment. But before, like, months before that, though, he became abusive, physically and verbally and mentally. And I don't fight back. I'm a pushover, and I'm weak. Well, physically at least. I've recently starting to embrace that I'm actually kind of a lot stronger than I realize I am in ways. But I mean, I would just take it. I would stonewall, and I would just take it. I would fawn, and I would freeze up and just take. Sorry, spider.
Hmm?
Oh, there's a spider on you. He's under your arm.
Same one though. Oh, it's not the same one.
We're apparently making spider friends.
There he goes.
Anyway, like while still living at my parents' house, he almost killed me by choking me to the point of passing out.
Continue.
I mean, I was a little bit ignorant, at first, because, like, although he never did it, like, besides for one situation, Trenton never saw the physical abuse. But of course, I've now learned that that doesn't necessarily matter. I mean, it's good, but it still very much affected him. And that little guy, was already going through a lot, because, I mean, like, after Kaz died, I mean, like, he wasn't okay for a really long time, and, like, he saw his car seat once, because, like, I finally gave my dad Kaz's car seat to take to my grandma's house to store, and, like, and Andrew and Trenton were coming back from the store, and he saw it, and he fell the fuck apart. I've never seen a child fall apart the way he did, you know. So he's going through a lot already. But, like, even if he's, like, I didn't realize, like, you know, in the beginning, like, well, he's sleeping, so he doesn't see. He did, like, you know, I was ignorant as fuck, and I was just like, well, he's not seeing it, so he's okay. Like, but in reality, it was still affecting, because, like, you know, he could hear it even if he's sleeping. For fuck's sake, I mean, like, and he would see me bruised up and all my eyes swollen shut from Andrew beating me and giving me black eyes. But he didn't understand. And you know, he's an empath, and he would always ask me if I'm okay, and, like, how would you say to a toddler? Like, I mean, it's not like I'm gonna be like, yeah, your dad beat me. Like, you know, I would make up the stupidest lies. And part of me is angry at myself for that, but it's like, I'm obvious, like, you know, I didn't know what to do. Like, I've never been in a situation like that before. And, you know, I was, you know, convinced it was all my fault. Like, if I would have done this differently, or done that differently, or if I was just a different person, it wouldn't be happening to me. I got Stockholm Syndrome with Andrew bad. Like, I mean, I would still talk about him like he walked on water. Like, he was just a hero. He was so great. But in reality, he wasn't. He was fucking me up. Literally. And, like, when we moved, and I not only was I was doing stupid shit, like, not like illegal shit or anything, but, like, along with starving myself, but, like, I didn't know how to handle the fact that part of me was gone, and, like, I fucking destroyed my parents' house in a way, because I filled it with a bunch of random shit. I would just get things, like, and just because I thought things would fill the whole empty space in me. It doesn't at all. Like, I think I had like 3 interventions, but, like, from my family. Like, my mom and my dad and Andrew would, like, be like, you need to stop. This is out of control. And, like, I understood, but I just couldn't stop. I didn't know how to stop. And then that's weren't necessarily helpful. I mean, they would just tell me, like, hey, it needs to stop, but, like, it would just continue and continue and continue. And then we got our own place in the Grand. And I did okay for a little while. And, like, we took all the stuff that I had filled in my parents' house and put it in, like, my dad got a fucking trailer and we shoved it all in that. It still sits at my parents' house. Full of shit. All the important stuff, like, of Kaz's and everything, was in a storage unit that Andrew caused me to lose because, like, we fell behind on the payments, and then, like, I think we still had the storage unit, but, like, it was, like, not accessible to us because we were behind in payments. And then, well, look, hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. Rewind a little bit. Even though I did okay for a little while, not feeling the apartment, I still started struggling a little bit. And then he didn't necessarily help either. Like, he brought home shit too, shit to tear apart, like mostly electronics, and fucking had shit, and of course would bring shitty people around, like people just to smoke fentanyl and everything. I never touched it though. Once. I hated it, but I only did it because I was in so much pain. I absolutely hate fentanyl on local levels. I watched Andrew overdose 4 times in front of me, which it was traumatizing in itself. And the abuse continued there. Like, there was one time while Trenton was sleeping, he was just kicking me down the hallway to the boys' bedroom. Trenton was asleep in the living room. He fell asleep watching a movie with me, and Andrew just started losing his shit and started punching and kicking me down the hallway and nearly choked me to death again in the boys' room. I say boys' because it was a couple years after Kaz passed, and I found out I was pregnant again with my now youngest, Henry. So yeah, I was only like maybe 2 months pregnant, but he was kicking and punching me down the hallway, and he nearly choked me to death. And this is maybe 5 months after the last time he tried killing me, which was we were driving to Baker, but he pulled off the highway into this little like marsh area, and he dragged me out of the car by my hair while Trent was sleeping and beat me almost to death with a tire iron. Weirdly enough, Trenton's the one that saved my life in a way, because he woke up and, started fussing in the car. If it wasn't for Andrew hearing him fussing, I probably would be dead. And I had to get back in the car, fucking just covered in fucking blood. Take care of Trenton. Because he was too much of a shitty fucking person to fucking realize our child shouldn't see me like that. But he didn't want to fucking help him. Like, which, it was simple as, give him his binky. That's all I needed. And then that same night of him choking me out while Trent was asleep in the apartment, he gave me 2 black eyes. Both my eyes were swollen shut. And fucking, still, I had to take care of Trenton. Like, he would get mad at me and fucking smack me around because Trenton needed a diaper change, but I can't fucking see that. And he apparently was too incapable of changing our son's diaper. But it was my fault for not knowing because I can't see. And I can't even count how many times police were called on people because people would hear me getting smacked around or something. And LaGrange police suck. Don't do shit. He's even done it in public a couple times, and no one does a fucking thing. People just turn their heads. They don't care. When I was pregnant, though, I did cut down a lot, but I was scared, and part of it was because Andrew made me afraid of reaching out to get help getting sober. So I mean, yeah, I did use a little bit still, because especially because when I had my first doctor's appointment, when I found I was pregnant, I was open and honest. I told her I was using, because I was worried, I was scared. I've never been doing drugs and pregnant, so and that's my children matter to me, and of course, she told me you can't just stop, you can't stop smoking cigarettes. It can be dangerous to do that. And I was too scared, and of course I kept getting beaten, and fucking who wants to go to the hospital fucking all bruised up and fucking beaten. Well, when I went to labor with Henry, of course I quickly called the clinic, and they sent an ambulance for me. I went through that alone, because Andrew had to stay home with Trenton. He was born a month early, so we weren't necessarily expecting it right then. So, and we had nobody to come help us with Trenton, so he had to stay home. I went quickest labor of my life, though, because the EMTs barely walked out of the room before he was born. The doctor didn't even make it to the hospital room before he was out. He was ready. Well, of course, I was honest and, told him that, yes, I had meth in my system. And, which I knew that meant, they were going to call CPS. That was fine. If anything, maybe they can help me. Which, obviously, they did. But it was conflicting interest, unfortunately, because the person that first came to see me in the hospital, she was also one of the people who was on my case for Kaz when Kaz passed away, and she tried to blame me for his death. I don't know what the fuck her problem was, but she didn't like me, for some reason. Of course, Andrew wasn't looked at, because he wasn't even around when Kaz died, but of course, when I didn't recognize her, because I was I almost died when I had Henry. Blah 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 blah. Oh my gosh, I have 4 kids, too many. So, because I was severely preeclampsia. I had really bad preeclampsia. Blah blah blah. Doc. But so I was kind of out of it. I had 2 IVs in me. And I was, stuck in a bed, and I was just emotional because I was scared that they were gonna take my babies, and she reassured me when she came to see me. She reassured me that wasn't gonna happen. And I didn't recognize her at first, but when she went to go to the apartment to check on Trenton, not only did she not tell Andrew his rights like they're supposed to do, but also without my knowledge, because I was in the hospital, Andrew was doing stupid shit. And he had a bowl full of fucking pills just sitting on the table, which obviously CPS is gonna see that and realize that is. And he had made the apartment a fucking disaster. And I had been in the hospital for 3 days at that moment. And no, 4 days. And of course, and CPS was okay, that your child's in danger, because that bowl of random pills is accessible to the child. And she also, and Andrew had recognized who she was and said something to me, and that, and so I instantly had called the office, and I was I want a new CPS worker. But of course, before they had got that changed and everything, she lied and said a bunch of shit, said I had a box full of syringes and stuff like that, and all kinds of stuff just around that, and stuff around, and it was me that had it, which I'm terrified of needles, and I hadn't been using it. Andrew was IV user, but either way, none of that was true. And she did eventually admit it to the judge that she had lied in the report, but that wasn't until after they took the kids. They took both Trenton and Henry into custody on December 5th. And Henry was born December 1st of 2023. I forgot to mention that part. and they went into foster care. I got very fucking lucky, though, with the foster family that they got placed with. And, you know, working with DHS was a fucking struggle. The first 3 caseworkers we had were the first one was conflict of interest and a shitty person towards me. The second one just wasn't doing her job. Like, I was constantly asking her, what do I need to do to, you know, work on getting my kids back? What do I need to do? And she would ignore me. She wouldn't respond to me. I couldn't ever contact her. And apparently there was something else. She was doing some shady shit because she ended up getting fired, I guess. And then the third one was just rude as fuck to us, and she would instigate fights with Andrew. Like, she would follow him just to get him to, like, act out and, like, make him, like, get hostile. And it wasn't until our 4th caseworker that things started getting better. And of course, every time we had to switch caseworkers, like, literally, we had to start over. And of course, like, Andrew wasn't doing shit to do anything towards, like, getting the kids better, and it, like, basically was putting it all on me. And, like, of course, you know, especially with Trent not in the and like me not being pregnant and the boys not being in the house, like, the abuse just continued getting worse, like, and everything was always my fault, and it was all on me. And, like, especially because, like, he would take one of the stipulations from DHS a little too, like, to a different direction. Like, it was like at least one parent needs to be willing to work with DHS, so he wasn't working with DHS. And of course, like, and I was trying, and, like, but I was really shit at being consistent. Especially because, I mean, you know, it's kind of, you're not, I'm very bad at being consistent with anything, especially when I'm using, I even tried going to detox in Baker City. I love that fucking detox center, though. Great food. And I was there for 5 days, because I was trying outpatient in La Grande at CHD, and I had really great support there, and they drove me, you know, to the detox center. And I stayed sober for 2 weeks, but when I came home after my 5 days in detox, Andrew was still using meth and fentanyl, and, like, would literally make me leave so he could use. And then, of course, like, being still all about him and thinking, like, you know, of course it's all my fault and he's just a great person, like, I eventually just started, like, I started using again because I was like, I wanted to just be able to spend time with him, and, like, and I also got jealous, I guess. Like, I wanted to fucking be high, so I started using again, and of course started being inconsistent with outpatient rehab again. It was bad, and it was 11 months. The kids had been had been gone for 11 months. We went to court, and the judge looked at us, and he told me, he's like, if I don't start seeing consistency from you, Rihanna, your kids are going to go up for adoption. And if I don't see anything from you at all, Andrew, your kids are going for adoption. And, like, you know, of course, the whole 11 months, I kept getting encouraged, go to rehab, and I was like, no. Like, I was scared of it. I heard a lot of bullshit about rehabs and shit like that, and also there's no rehab, like, in La Grande. Like, the closest one's Baker, but they were full, so I knew I was, like, and, like, you know, and, like, that also being away from my kids, and also I was scared of getting a call that my husband was gonna be dead. Because, I mean, I watched him overdose 4 times, but he overdosed 9 times in total by the end of everything. Like, but when the judge said that, I didn't give no fucks, because there's no better parent for my children than me. I wanted my kids back home with me. So, the next day, I think we had an appointment at CHD with my peer support, and she gave me a fucking stack about, like, this thick of every rehab in Oregon, and I filled every one of them out. And with my luck, literally 2 days later, I got a call from Milestones Women's and Children's program in Corvallis, Oregon, telling me that they had a bed ready for me. So that following Monday, I went to rehab. And was the best decision of my life. And I was like, and I was lucky because not only like did I just get into a rehab really quick, but it was a rehab I could have my kids at. And that's one thing I was scared of because like I think out of that whole stack there was only 3 rehabs that allowed children. The rest of them didn't. And I was like, and I was so scared that like I was gonna end up in a rehab that I couldn't have my kids. And with my luck it was gonna be somewhere far away, and so like I was only gonna have virtual visits. Like, and of course the rehab was 7 hours away from the kids, so like the first 30 days it was virtual visits, which really is difficult, especially with a baby and a 5-year-old that doesn't want to pay attention to a screen. But after 30 days I got Trenton first, and then shortly after Henry turned 1 I got him in my care too. And rehab, and I am so thankful I went to rehab for multiple reasons. Not only did it help me get sober and get my shit together, but it helped me get away from Andrew and the abuse, and realize it's not my fucking fault. And he doesn't walk on goddamn water at all, actually. If anything, he was drowning and he was pulling me down with him. And I gained my self-respect, my self-worth back, and which I didn't have any because of him. And I learned how to love myself again. Which, okay, I shouldn't say again. I learned how to love myself in general, because I have never loved myself. Because I never felt loved growing up. I mean, yeah, sure, like a little bit with my dad, of course, but I mean, for fuck's sake, I went through periods of my childhood that, like, my parents put a toe chain and padlock on the refrigerator to keep us from eating. So, like, I didn't have a lot of self-love or self-worth to begin with, but when I was with Andrew, and I stayed married to Andrew for 8 years, but the last 5.5, he made sure to destroy every part of it, every little tiny bit of it I had. And rehab helped me regain that, along with a lot of tools, and helped me learn how to handle my grief a little bit. I'm still working on it though. One of the best things I was told though while I was in rehab was, grief is all the unshared love you had for somebody that you lost with nowhere to go. And I think, to me personally, that's something, it's really beautiful thinking of it that way, because it's just like, I just have all this love that I just need to share with somebody. Like, I need to find somewhere to put it, put something in, and put it into something positive, not drown it out with drugs or fucking any other addiction. And while I was in rehab, just shortly before I graduated is when I officially left Andrew, and and I decided I was going to stay in Corvallis, and I was going to go to the outpatient program instead of going home, which ended up being good, because the same day that I graduated, he got us evicted from our apartment from overdosing. His story was that he was cleaning the apartment all paraphernalia, because he was going to get sober finally, and he touched a foil and overdosed. She's screaming bullshit to me, but he told our landlord something different, and he told our caseworker something different. But our landlord apparently was outside, and he lived in the apartment across from us and downstairs. So like when the EMTs had showed up to fucking save Andrew's life, like, he ended up doing an emergency inspection the next day, and oh my gosh, our landlord sent me pictures of the apartment, and even though I hadn't been there for 3 months, I was so ashamed. Like, you couldn't even walk through it. It was just fucking, I don't know what the fuck. That's all I gotta say. Not my fault though, but like, I still felt very ashamed and like disappointed, but thankfully I already made the decision to stay in Corvallis, and went to outpatient rehab through the same program, and which was really great. A few months into it, I had met somebody that lived out here in Idaho, in Nampa, who I thought was a great person. And we started dating, even though like we were like far apart. Like in, I even like they even brought me out here during spring break, like. Well, because my kids went to go stay with the former foster family, because even though they didn't adopt my kids, we adopted them as family. Trenton and Henry called them aunt and uncle. They, like I said, I got blessed with the foster family that they got placed with. They are like very incredible, sweet people that actually really care. I mean, the foster mom, like she came to family groups while I was in rehab to support me, and she came to my graduation. My own family didn't even make an effort to come see me or be there for me, even virtually, because you can come virtually. Like even to the family meetings or even like the graduation, and no one made any effort. I mean, actually, while I was in rehab, my mom sent me a letter telling me how she gave up on me, which really fucking broke my heart. I think she's gained a little bit of faith in me again, though, but I'm not. Like, but still fucking hurt to know that, like, I hurt her so bad that she gave up on me. But I mean, at first I was mad about it, but like, I do understand now. I mean, like, for fuck's sake, I gave up on myself. And it's just like, and in a way I appreciate her for writing that letter, because like, it helped me realize, like, it was kind of a wake up call, basically. For me to realize, like, I really need to fix my shit. Oh gosh, okay. Anyway, and then, but yeah, the first time I met, things were going great, and then, he moved me and my children out here to Idaho in June of 2025. Oh, I graduated rehab. I went to rehab on September 23rd, 2024, and graduated January 9th, 2025. Then I did outpatient rehab, graduated outpatient. Actually, a week after I moved out here, because I continued my outpatient for a little bit, like even after I moved out here. Till I graduated, because I wasn't gonna not graduate. Because I was actually, for the first time in my life, actually proud of something I did. But yeah, and things were good for the first several months of living here and being with him. But then he abruptly stopped taking his meds, because he's bipolar type 2, and like just cold turkey stopped taking his meds. And I mean, things were okay at first. He was managing it, I guess, or so I thought. But then he started, he quit his job, and we didn't have any income anymore, and so he started selling cocaine. He's really good at it. Made a lot of money, sure. But then he started becoming he just was never around. And then he convinced me to have the bright idea, because we lived with his dealer, which I didn't know until like the last month of living, because like we had roommates, like his 2 roommates. Which one of them, and like which, without my knowledge, was the dealer. Which, I mean, I wouldn't have moved my fucking kids in that house if I knew that there was fucking cocaine in the house. Fucking pounds of it. At that. And he convinced me, though, of the bright idea to steal $30,000 from this person. Well, it didn't necessarily convince me, but he just told me he was gonna do it, and like, I didn't have a choice in what was happening. And he tried abandoning me at the apartment when he did it, leaving me and my kids and my kids were not there when this happened. They were in Oregon again for another visit with the former foster family. And, but he just tried to abandon me there, like, putting my life in danger. But then he got me an Uber because to where he was at, which was his mom's. And that's when things went downhill really fast, because I found out he had started using meth. And then he became verbally abusive and mentally abusive, and just started being a fucking psycho, in my opinion. Fucking blew 30 grand. Well, no, actually, he got 15 grand of it stolen by some bitch that he was, like, hanging out with. Excuse me, sorry.
What? Okay, well, let's finish this and I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Okay. I think it started getting really fucking bad, like, around beginning of December 2025. He started just pushing me around, which of course I kept minimalizing it, and like it's nothing, it's not a big deal, and this is my fault. Like, he was convincing me it was my fault again, and I was like, and like, I mean, he would even tell me shit like, I now I get why Andrew would fucking want to fuck you up, like why he abused you. So, like, you know, like, and I just instantly, like, I quickly was able to get back in that mindset of, like, okay, this is all my fault. Like, this is, and then I had gotten a new phone, and he ended up snapping it in half, accusing me of fucking stupid shit.
You won't finish this real quick.
I don't know if I can. Okay. So the day after Christmas, I set the former foster family wanted to have a visit with the kids and, you know, have a Christmas with them. And 2 days after they left, he took a gun to my phone and smashed it. And I was scared. And he hit me. I was scared, so I was a little frantic, but I called the former foster parents, and I was like, please keep my kids longer. It is not safe here. And I knew that their mandatory reporters, so I was like anticipating them to call CPS and get them involved as well, because I was like, I need help. I'm not in an okay situation, and this person who I had, you know, was trying to build a life with, or whatever, was becoming fucking a monster, and I didn't want my kids around that. I mean, like, and fighting was already getting bad right before the kids left, but like, there's no abuse, but like, then the abuse started, and this chaos.
I'm gonna pause this.
Yes.